Heidi ho neighbors, Radio Goji here, and welcome back to Squeeze the World Toys. Today we're going to be continuing our build of the Super Minipla Muteki Shogun, but before we get started with White Kark here, I do want to give a little bit of an update on Red Saruder. I actually found out the reason that the ball joints in the shoulders weren't very good is because I didn't push them in all the way. Well, now they're actually in all the way, and they work fine. So pretty much any complaints that I had regarding the figure itself are more or less null and void now. So I'm just going to sit him back there. I've also moved things around a tiny bit, just kind of scooched the table closer to the couch so that it's more apparent that I'm doing stuff on camera rather than just like slightly on camera from the side. But today we're going to be doing White Kark, which is Ninja White's mech. Again, it is a humanoid component based off of a crane. At least the head part would be. But first we got to eat our candy. Candy for energy. Let's dive right in. Reach the same amount of kit. Actually, would that be looks like a little bit like a bit less sprue wise? I don't know. When I do the counting, I'll probably note how many there are, because last time there were 6. About the same number of stickers, I would say. Maybe a little bit less. Yeah, there's less stickers, yeah. Because we're not working on the head. The robot head's already done. Plus, I don't think that there are any stickers going on to the weapons here, so... Okay, so there's one less sprue than there was last time. Probably be a little bit of a shorter build video this time around because there's less to do. That's pretty accurate with how Live Robo turned out, because like the first video was like the longest, and then like the second video was about the same size, or the third video rather was about the same length as the second, and that ended up being like the last half of that was showing like how the combination worked. I mean, these are all relatively the same in structure though, so I don't know. I'll talk about it. May as well talk about, like, you know, Dragon Quest 11, because that's like my latest obsession nowadays. I'm pretty far in. Though I don't know how much I want to talk about, because the game is still relatively new, and spoilers would be abound, but on the podcast I talked about how there was one point where I basically got to a collect the colored orbs mission, like in, or quest line, like in Dragon Quest 3, that got me really excited. And that turned out really well. I mean, it was a bit shorter than expected because you kind of get 2 of the orbs before you start it, but then it went to something I kind of wasn't overly expecting. I was actually kind of expecting to almost be done with the game, and then it threw a curveball at me, and there's a lot more. So, that's pretty exciting. Let's see. I'm actually building a shoulder here from what I can tell. Whatever shoulder is going to be visible from the outside of the robot. White Kark makes the left arm, so this is going to be the right shoulder here. I can tell because it has the little fishy mark that's visible on the outside of Muteki Shogun's shoulder. Getting back into Deadly Premonition is a lot of fun too. Had a lot of fun with that. We're going to record more of that on Thursday. But I do want to get that done because I'm kind of using my Let's Plays as a partial outlet for getting backlog stuff done too. And yeah, as a result, the Deadly Premonition is a game that is on my backlog. I don't know how long it's going to take to clear it because we're still technically in Chapter 1. Like, even considering if we go through, I think Like, if you just go through the game and not worry about any of the side quests and such. I'm fairly sure, if I remember, because I use how long to beat to help keep track of my my backlog stuff. I believe it said it was something like 20 hours, which isn't too terribly bad for basically a Shenmue clone, if I can judge that correctly. I haven't played Shenmue, but people have compared when Shenmue came out recently. I think Jim Sterling mentioned how, because he didn't like the Shenmue re-release, and he said that there were games like Deadly Premonition that did it better. But I'm not really one to judge, but I do use that as a kind of a springboard, I guess, to say that, yeah, I guess it could be considered a Shenmue clone, because they do a lot of similar things. And again, neither were the stickers on Red Sartor's arms, so I'm not too worried about it. It still looks fine. I'm not a super professional at this. I just do this for fun. I found out that the private warehouse at HLJ, they only hold your stuff for 60 days. Because I got an email from them saying, like, hey, you got this on there. We're just going to send you weekly reports as to what's here. And, I mean, it's not like I lose it or anything after 60 days. It's just after 60 days, they'll just automatically ship it to me. Which is fine. I actually I wanted them to ship it in the first place, but I'm going to be getting them to ship it to me once I get paid, which is on Friday. Today is Monday, by the way. I'm looking at the wrong sprue. Making the left arm here. Oh, there's a blank bit. So rather than having, because it has the gold bit on one arm, the other arm just has like this blank black part, which it's the same shape, but it doesn't have a fancy design on it. It's going to be facing the back. It's making things much easier having the table right here. I was bending over, sitting on the edge of the couch, just bending over last time, and this time I'm a little bit. I'm still basically on the edge of the couch. I'm not on like the edge, trying to hang myself into the shot. Looks about as good on a little camera screen here. About as good as I can pretty much expect it to. I did a quick check on the Jackpot Strikers on Amazon earlier, and they still have like $75 ones in stock, or like the third-party sellers still have them marked for like $75, but it says there's only like a few of them left. So people are starting to flock over there, and probably not going to be able to get there in time, because like I said, I'm at a point where I can't really buy anything until I get paid, because I mean, I have plenty of money in my account, but this month's rent check, my roommate still needs to do something with that, because my roommate is technically my landlord as well. Like, at first we were just roommates, and then he bought the house, so I still refer to him as my roommate, but he's technically my landlord now. But I've always paid him, like, he's always paid the rent and everything directly, even before he owned the house. And like, I would just pay my half of the rent and bills and everything to him. So that's just what I do now, is like my rent and bill. Like, he didn't change much what I paid when we first started living here. Like, after he bought the house, he said it's like still the same amount, and it covers all the basically, like, whatever doesn't go toward bills now goes toward the house payments, which is, makes sense. So that works out well. I'm also thinking of doing like something drinking related tomorrow. Things have been really getting stressful at work. I'm not gonna, go too much into details about that crap, but yeah, not the ideal situation right now. Not like at least I'm fairly sure my job's not in jeopardy or anything like that. It's just very, very stressful, and drink all too often, so I'll have something. I don't know if I'll record anything or not. I mean, I may, but I can't even think of what I would want to record. Actually, when we did the SNES Classic, because the first plan was to, for when we were doing the SNES Classic, the first plan was actually to do, what was it called? Mega Man X2. And then I was thinking to myself, well, I do Mega Man games all the time when I'm drunk, and I want to do something different. So then the next plan was to do Sonic Mania, and I went and downloaded Sonic Mania onto my PS4 because I have Sonic Mania on the Switch as well, which is mainly what I play it on, but it's just easier to record off of the PS4. And then he's like, let's do SNES Classic instead. I was like, okay. So we did that, and that's where that came from. And there's some painted black and silver on there, not unlike Red Sarter. So finish recording this and then like immediately dump it off on my computer, because I have my computer on anyway because I just finished uploading Shay's Deadly Premonition part. I mean, this isn't going up till like next week anyway, so if I do something drunk, then you'll know it because it's happened. If you watch the gaming part of it anyway, and if you don't, well, I do gaming stuff too. That's what I started off doing actually, was Let's Plays. Like 8 years ago, I think. Yeah, over 8 years ago, and look what I have to show for it. 100-something subscribers, yay. Not that I'm not grateful for the subscribers who actually do come here and actually watch stuff. There's a couple of them who we refer to as our fans. But still, it's mostly on the gaming side. I kind of want to do, at some point in time, I want to do another sort of 10 shots, 10 bots thing, but I really don't know how viable that'll be, because the main rule I have with that is that when I put aside my the figures for the drawing, I don't include anything that I've already reviewed. And not only is that list figures I haven't reviewed, not only is that shrinking, but I'm also not really planning on getting any new Transformers anytime soon. And the only figures I've gotten since I did Shots, Bots, and Mavericks, I believe, were the Terrorcons over there. You can see him. You can see Abominus down at the bottom, standing on the floor there, of Volcanicus. Yes, because Volcanion is the Pokemon. Volcanicus is the Dinobots. Oh, this is going to be, again, it's this chest thing. The chest symbol sticker is bigger than the chest symbol part. So kind of got to strategically put this on here. That'll do. Looks better than the red one turned out. But you can see Volcanicus and Abominus down there. I'm gonna start doing like when I get to the next Transformers review, it's definitely gonna be the Dinobots. But I do have a couple of other things I'm probably gonna be getting in the meantime. Mainly continuing on with the Kamen Rider and Sentai ideas. Because I should have, at the very least, have the Fourze armor for ZO by then. And possibly Lupin Magnum, if I can get my hands on one. Because Lupin Magnum seems to have sold out a lot of places. Either fans are really that determined to get Lupin Ranger stuff, or scalpers have found the value of tokusatsu toys. Either way, it's a little disheartening. Well, this doesn't even have a ball joint for the head, just has a peg. I'm not putting any stickers on the head, am I? Like I did with Red Starter? No. Okay, good. And now we're going on to the legs. Got my clamps on standby just in case. Running those stupid problem pieces. You never know. Actually, I'm not as worried about using the clamp on it because the clamp just like put those pieces together cleanly last time. And Minipla in general is, I mean, if this was like a regular Gunpla, I would have a lot more worries about using it. But Minipla in general uses like thicker plastic. And the Super Minipla just uses like Minipla standard parts and plastic and whatnot, with just more like elaborate kind of. I like to compare it to master grade Gundam sort of quality engineering. Oh, I think I might have to use the clamps here. Clamp. Oh, it did. Okay, cool. And no stress or anything on the parts. I like these. Looks like we're almost done with this sprue here. We got a couple parts, and they're going to be used in this step. One thing I like about these stickers, I mean, I know that they don't feel like they're like the same sort of quality as like other Minipla stickers are, but they stay on really, really well. I think like Live Robo maybe has like one or two problem spots here and there, and they're very minor. Like I've had no problems with these so far. I think I mentioned at some point, I think I may have mentioned that my friend Jordan and I, you know Jordan, we've been playing, in the past few months, we've been playing the Mega Man X Legacy Collection on my Switch, just kind of passing the controller back and forth. And I've played all of the games on there already. I talked about that last time, but like he wanted to play all of the games, because the only ones he had really played up to that point that he really knew were X1 and X2. Like he had played, I believe he played X3 for the, he played X3 for the first time recently? Or, no, he had played it before, but didn't remember anything about it. And he has mentioned a lot more recently that he had played Mega Man X7, because he remembers Ride Borsky. But pretty much everything else he hasn't played at all. And we're basically past the really good part of the collection. We're in Volume 2 now. We're nearing the end of Mega Man X5, and there's a lot of bullcrap in that game, let me tell you. And like we're just, I think we just finished getting all the pickups from all the Maverick stages, and then we're getting ready to go into the first Sigma stage, which is nothing but, at least as far as I can remember, it's basically just Quickman lasers, and then you fight like another version of the Yellow Devil. I mean, he's like the black colored or whatever, because super edgy and whatnot. It was basically the not only was it the you know, meant to be the last game in the series at the time, but it was also basically did the most in tying Mega Man X to the classic Mega Man series. And I'm not going to say anything about the story for those who might not know and want to find out for themselves, but there are a lot of ties to the classic series, because when it was originally made, like I said, it was supposed to be the last game in the Mega Man X series, and then the narrative was supposed to swap over full force into Mega Man Zero as a sequel series to that. And then after Mega Man X5 was done, and Keiji Inafune started working on, started getting preliminary stuff up and running for Mega Man Zero, then it looks like all of a sudden Capcom was just like, by the way, we need to make Mega Man X6 now. And Inafune was like, I'm sorry? And then, that's Spruce done, by the way. And they're like, yeah, we're making another one. whether you like it or not. And then he's like, I don't want that to happen. He's like, well, and then Capcom was like, well, you don't have to work on it if you don't want to. We'll just have a bunch of other people work on it who aren't you. And that's what happened. And Mega Man X6 sucks. I mean, it doesn't suck as much as, like, you know, Mega Man X7. Mega Man X7 is, like, you know, generally considered to be one of the worst games ever made. At least Mega Man X6 is a bit more divisive. But I didn't care for it at all. There's a whole lot of stuff in that game that should not have been the way it was. And it was basically just recycling a lot of assets from X5. Well, I mean, X5 did recycle a lot of assets from X4 anyway. But it was like, you have, like, Dynamo is in the game again. Like, why do we need Dynamo in the game again? And he doesn't even have much of a purpose. He's just there. He's like Dynamo. You know, that super popular character from Mega Man X5 that, let's face it, nobody remembers Dynamo. I used to like Mega Man X5 a lot, but I already mentioned my reasons why. I just remembered, oh yeah, I already talked about that. One of my first games on the PlayStation and all that, but I have a much lower opinion of it these days. Mega Man X4 is so much... I mean, Mega Man X4 is a really good game, in general. I like Mega Man X4 a lot. And it was the last of the great X games, but... and that's why... but X5 was basically the start of Inafune getting ready... or the whole X6 thing, and going on to X7 and X8. X8 is better than X7 and X6, but it's still very divisive, and it's also one that I don't particularly care for. But that was like one of the first steps, I think. One of the many straws that very much went toward Inafune leaving Capcom. And thus, if Capcom didn't just, you know, outright do that kind of crap, we wouldn't have had Mighty Number 9. And, you know, some would say the world would be a better place for that. But if we didn't have Mighty Number 9, chances are we wouldn't have had Mega Man 11 either, so what do I know? Mega Man 11, like I said before, just seems to be like a deliberate plan just to try to show up Mighty Number 9 because it was awful. Not that I'm saying Mega Man 11 is a bad game or anything. I just I still have yet to play it, but I'm not going to be playing it anytime soon. But again, I've gone over this. I guess I can only think of so much to talk about. This is going to be a much shorter video. The Red Sarter video, like the total footage was like an hour and a half. And I haven't edited it at all from, you know, as of this recording, but right now the timer's only up to 35 minutes and we're almost done. I'm not going to go ahead and do the next one here because I really don't want to right now, but I'm not saying that I don't want to do this. I definitely want to do this. I'm having fun doing this. But you know, I already have my plans for the day, and I was like, yep, I'm going to build this, I'm going to offload the footage, and then get something to eat and play Dragon Quest, pretty much. But I also have Walking Dead has been recorded. The season premiere was last night, so I'm going to watch that tonight. So at the very least, I'm not going to be, you know, just recording another video just because this doesn't take as long. I'm still going to be saving Yellow Camardo for Yellow Camard, or whatever you want to, however you want to Romanize that. I'm going to still be doing that tomorrow. It just means that I'm going to have more time to, you know, play Dragon Quest XI tonight. Because even though I watch Walking Dead on my TV, that means I can still, I mean, I mainly play Dragon Quest XI on the TV. I also have the ability to, you know, remote play with my Vita. And, like, if I'm watching YouTube or something, and I'm playing something on, like, a portable system, I'll use my PS4 to play YouTube. But I mean, I do like to use a remote play to keep games semi-portable, but I've found that, remote play is not perfect. And there'll still be times where it, does have latency issues here and there, even if you're in the same room, on the same network, because you still have to have an internet connection to do it, even though you're in the same freaking room. I never understood why that is, but that's a thing. You have to be on the same internet. You have to be connected to the internet if you're in the same room doing remote play. And so you have to be on the internet, and you have to be within sight of the PS4. Like if I try to take my my Vita into the other room while I'm doing remote play, it'll lose the connection. Or no, it'll just. I've played remote play in another room before, and it's terrible. The connection doesn't stay active for long at all. And then it's just oh, we lost connection to the PS4. It's kind of like a Wii U gamepad where you can't even take that out of the room. Which kind of defeats really one of its purposes. I mean, I use off TV play on the Wii U all the time. But, I mean, with the PS4, I've been mostly playing the games on the TV and then watching YouTube and whatnot on my phone. But considering that I don't have streaming and whatnot set up for my for the cable, I'll just I'll use remote play if I'm watching TV itself. And considering how AMC usually is with their premieres, I think the premiere is probably going to be 2 hours long. Because their premieres and finales for their seasons are usually like that. And really the only thing that's left in the sprues is the weapons. Which makes me wonder which one the sword's in, because we had the whole robot head assembly with the red, but we haven't had a sword in either of these. My prediction is going to be with yellow because of the matching plastic colors. All right, and that does it. That is White Kark done. Let's take a look at what articulation it has. You can. The shoulders are a bit bigger because of how they're constructed, but basically it's the same sort of articulation. There's not a ball joint here, but the shoulders can still go up and down. And you still have the same sort of arm assembly, so it can still go back and forth. You can still twist the wrist there. The head is on a pin, or on a peg rather than a ball joint, so not as much head movement. And the legs are on ball joints as well. There's knee movement. You can... a lot of posability with the legs. There's waist swivel. And that's pretty much all there is to say about that. She also got the Kark beaks. That's what these are called. They're just kind of like two-pronged swords or daggers or something that they can hold in the hands. There we go. So now you're dual wielding, kind of like two-pronged forks. There's more or less, not really daggers. There's more stabbing implements, but they look really neat. But that's White Kark there, and yeah, much shorter video here, but I'm still gonna offload it there. That just means that I won't have to really go through the last video I did. I pretty much had to recharge my camera right away because I was running out of battery that quickly. But I don't think that'll be the same with the next. But in the next video, we'll be taking on set number 3, which is Yellow Kamard. So until then, I've been Radio Goji, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?